Shalom. First off, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Machar. I want to give double honors to the apostles, elders, and bishops of GMS who have taught us this word and teach us this word today. And I want to give a salutation unto the elect of the nation of Israel. This is the brother Yatazak Ba with the GMS Nebraska camp. And I just want to do a real quick lesson based off this article here from abcnews.com titled, FBI warns Iran aspired to attack California with drones in retaliation for war. Now, based off this article, what I want to just briefly go into in this lesson is that we could be seeing a false flag attack in the makings. Now this is allegedly. I'm not saying that this is going to happen, but this could be what comes from this situation. And I'll just go into this and go into why. Because when you read the article, it says the FBI warned police departments in California in recent days that Iran could retaliate for American attacks by launching drones at the West Coast, according to an alert reviewed by ABC News. It says, we recently acquired unverified information that as of early February 2026, Iran allegedly aspired to conduct a surprise attack using unmanned aerial vehicles from an unidentified vessel off the coast of the United States homeland, specifically against unspecified targets in California in the event the U.S. conducted strikes against Iran. So it says we have no additional information on the timing, method, target, or perpetrators of this alleged attack. So based off this article, the FBI has this information that Iran was going to attack California, but they have no more details in that. They just know that they was going to do it. They don't know how. They don't know who in Iran. They don't know when. It was just, they just said that this was something that Iran was planning. And let me grab a precept real fast, because we got to understand who we're dealing with here. This is Esau. This is a deceiver. That's why in Psalm 58:2 it says, yea, in heart ye work wickedness, ye weigh the violence of your hands in the earth. The wicked, and who are the wicked? Esau, Edom. Edom is called the border of wickedness in the scripture. It says the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. Esau is ruling over this earth. So it says the wicked are estranged from the womb. They go astray as soon as they be born, speaking lies. And Esau definitely uses this media, these news stations, to spread lies. As a matter of fact, you had recently, I believe it was Pete Hegseth, somebody in the Trump administration came out and said that school, that girls' school that they blew up in Iran did it to themselves and blamed it on the U.S. And that's just showing the type of, stuff that this Edomite does. Now, he's gonna put that blame on Iran and say that they bombed their own self, to blame it on the U.S., to paint them as an enemy of some sort. But here we have actual history of the U.S. doing attacks on themselves for an ulterior motive. Look at Pearl Harbor. Look at 9/11. And we're going to get a little bit into 9/11 in this lesson. But these are events where false flag events, where the U.S. will allow an attack to happen or attack themselves and make it seem like it's bigger than it actually is. So let's get into the definition of a false flag attack. And we're going to get into why this article, why the FBI is saying that Iran is going to attack California with drones, is most likely a lie. It's most likely that deceit that Esau pushes. So let's get into false flag, which means a false flag is a covert operation such as a terrorist attack or military action staged by a government, corporation, or group to make it appear as though another party is responsible. And it says these tactics are used to justify retaliation, manipulate public opinion, or create a pretext for war. Now, how could this situation be a false flag attack? Well, I went to Grok, just the AI chat, and I asked, could Iran strike California with drones? And it says, no, Iran does not currently have drones capable of directly striking California from Iranian territory or even from nearby regions. Iran's drone arsenal, while large and increasingly used in the ongoing conflict, including thousands launched in retaliation against the U.S. and allied targets in the Middle East, is limited to ranges far short of the distance required. So let's read this. It says, we're going to start right here. Reliable estimates from U.S. intelligence think tanks and media reports places maximum range at around 750 to 1,240 miles. So that's how far that Iranian drones and, their different missiles can, it's talking about their drones. This is how far their drones can get. It says the straight line distance from Iran to California is approximately 7,300 to 7,800 miles. So this is about 7 times longer of a distance than Iran's drones can get from Iran. Now, in this FBI report, they said that they was going to use some type of unmanned vehicle to shoot the drones from it, basically saying that Iran would somehow get closer. Well, let's read this right here. It says recent FBI alerts warned California law enforcement about uncorroborated intelligence suggesting Iran. Let's get that word uncorroborated real fast. Uncorroborated means not confirmed or supported by other evidence or information. They're just going off of, they said that it's true, so it's true. There's no evidence, there's no proof, right? So it says recent FBI alerts warned California enforcement about uncorroborated intelligence suggesting Iran had aspired to a surprise drone attack on unspecified West Coast targets, potentially launched from an unidentified vessel off the U.S. coast. Now it says this scenario would require sneaking a ship, possibly a converted cargo or drone carrier like the claimed Irish Shahid Bagheri, across the Pacific undetected, positioning it within drone range, so 1,000 to 2,000 kilometers offshore. Let's see. So about 750 to 1,000 miles offshore, right? It says launching drones without prior detection by U.S. naval, air, or satellite surveillance. So Iran would have to sneak a ship close enough to U.S. waters, have it go undetected by any type of radars, any type of lookout that the U.S. has set, and then shoot it without it being shot down and hit California. And the possibility of that happening is very, very slim on how it would have to be done based off this FBI report. So based off of this, let's read this. It says U.S. officials and experts describe this as highly improbable due to Iran's limited blue water navy, lack of carrier-like platforms for mass drone launches, and the extreme difficulty of evading detection over such distances. Ships don't just go around in water and the countries aren't privy to it. They got radars going out, they got satellites. People, these governments take heed to these things, so a sneak attack like that is next to impossible. So based off of this is what leads me to think that this is that they're planning some sort of false flag attack to where they would strike the U.S. would strike California themselves, or do something to where U.S. territory is attacked and blame it on Iran. Now, why would the U.S. do that? Well, let's look at what they did in the past with 9/11. What happened from 9/11? The U.S. Patriot Act. So when we get into the U.S. Patriot Act, it says the USA Patriot Act, I'm going to read it from right here, is a major U.S. federal law enacted in response to the 9/11 terrorist attacks. It was introduced shortly after 9/11, passed by Congress with broad bipartisan support. It says its primary stated purpose was to deter and punish terrorist acts in the U.S. and worldwide, enhance law enforcement and intelligence tools to prevent future attacks, improve information sharing between agencies, strengthen measures against terrorism, financing, and money laundering, and this is the point right here, and update surveillance laws for the modern, including digital era. So that was a very big thing that came from this Patriot Act, when we read on, it says expanded surveillance powers. It broadened authorities under laws like the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act and the Wiretap Act. This included allowing roving wiretaps, surveillance that follows a suspect across multiple devices without needing new warrants for each. So tapping into the phone, tapping into, whatever, these people can tap into to listen to what people are doing, to watch what people are doing. It basically increased surveillance, and it says what? It also lowered thresholds for surveillance. And we have to understand that what Esau eventually wants to do is bring an ultimate surveillance state like we see in China, where everything is surveilled, where everything on the internet is surveilled, everything, in public is surveilled. And eventually it's going to lead to the MOTB. But Esau can use all sorts of different reasons on why the MOTB needs to be enacted, such as terrorism. He could say that we need to start, we need to increase surveillance, just like they did with the Patriot Act, to see, who's getting into the country and who's going out, to keep tabs on people. He's going to make it seem as though it's for the safety of U.S. citizens, But let's get Revelation 13 and 16, because why is Esau really trying to bring this technology about? It says, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. These surveillance states you see, such as China and such as what's coming soon to America, is a prerequisite to this ultimate plan of the New World Order that Esau has of chipping everybody. And what he's going to do is that he's going to make life very hard to live unless you have that chip. And that's why it says no man might buy or sell unless they have that mark. So Esau needs reasoning to bring it about. And that's why Esau will do a false flag attack, because something else that Esau goes by is order ab chaos. What is that? It says order ab chaos is a Latin phrase meaning order out of chaos or order from chaos. It signifies bringing structure, harmony, and purpose out of disorder, confusion, or a chaotic state. It is a well-known motto associated with the 33rd degree of the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry, which is what these elites be into. And so what's an example of order ab chaos? Well, look at what happened here with these presidents in the U.S. We understand that these presidents they're doing the bidding of the elites. So they don't just call shots and do things for no reason. All these leaders of the world, they're doing the bidding of the elites. So look at what Joe Biden did. He did open borders to where he allowed a bunch of immigrants to come into the U.S. And then the president right after him, Trump, what he did is say, oh, we have an immigrant crisis. And now what happened? Now the National Guard is coming in. Now ICE is coming in. And we see the state that the U.S. is going into. That was done on purpose. These elites did it to where they had the Democrat president do something to create a so-called issue, and then the next person come in to crack down on the so-called issue. And that's order ab chaos. They'll create chaos, find a chaotic situation and bring order out of it that is bringing forth their agenda. So this could very well be this situation where they're talking about, possible California strikes could very well be a case of that, and this is something to look out for. Esau, is conniving. He's a deceiver, so let's get one more precept and then we'll close the lesson out, which is 2 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 11, which says, lest Satan should get an advantage of us. And Esau is doing the bidding of Satan. You can read that in 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. It says, lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. And those devices are talking about schemes, plans, plots. We're privy to Esau's plots. We understand what his ultimate goal is of that total control through that MOTB and his new world order. And so Esau is very deliberate in different things that he does on his way to bringing that about. And he's going to come up with any type of reasoning on why the MOTB has to be brought about. And he's going to talk about public safety. He's going to talk about security, convenience, all type of things, health. Yeah, Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. Once again, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Machar Kudash. I want to give double honors to the apostles, elders, and bishops of GMS, and a salutation unto the elect. Shalom.